Today on Warhammer Dad, we go into the deep dark depths of the forests. Warhammer Dad, Warhammer Dad. Trees, Deathworlds, bracken. Is it going to eat you? Probably. And they contain many amazing terrain traits that you should be exploiting for the benefit of war. Today on Warhammer Dad, we're going to explore one of the most underutilized items on the 41st Millennium battlefield, the tree. Let's explore why we all need trees in our lives. Our woods on the battlefield count as area terrain. Therefore, we must agree with our opponent beforehand where the terrain starts and ends. If in doubt about where the area terrain starts and ends, you can use some stones or some lichen or some other objects to create a circumference around the object. This means you know exactly where your models are and when they are in and they are out of the terrain feature. Woods are amazing because they cover a reasonable area of the battlefield and they have many cool terrain traits. These are dense cover, breachable, defensible, and difficult ground. Difficult ground. This means that when your opponent has to move, they have to charge, advance, or fall back over your terrain feature, they're going to have to subtract 2 from their move characteristic. You do need to be aware that it will also affect your own units unless you have something like a flip belt on the Harlequins, which can move over a terrain feature. Woods are fantastic because they gain the defensible trait. That means any unit inside it can hold steady. That means they can now overwatch on a 5+, or set to defend, gain +1 to hit in the combat phase. Woods also provide the terrain trait dense cover. This is amazing because it means that your opponent is going to be hindered in any shooting attacks. Provided the wood is at least 3 inches in height, which is the height of at least most trees, any shooting targeting your unit through the wood is going to have a -1 to hit modifier. How do we know that you have to subtract -1 to hit? Draw a 1mm thick line from the shooting model to the target. And if that line has to pass over any part of the dense cover, then you have to subtract -1 to hit. 2 things to note. If the enemy you're targeting is a flyer, they do not benefit from the dense cover keyword. Therefore, this mining laser can take a nice pot shot at the Doom Scythe and hopefully take it down. The second thing to remember about dense terrain is that if the model has 18 wounds or more, it is targetable, and they do not benefit from the dense cover rule. Woods are also breachable. This means that if you're a beast, swarm, or infantry unit, you can pass through it as if it wasn't there. Now, you cannot end your move on the terrain feature. However, you can pass through it without any obstructions. It is still difficult ground, and they will still get their -2 to the movement as they have the fly keyword or some other rule such as a flip belt. The other units have passed through the wood and are now on the other side. They have breached through it, yet they have not got very far because their move characteristic was reduced. So in summary, woods are amazing, but make sure you mark out those footprints and you agree on where they are with your opponent before the battle starts. Dense cover, -1 to hit if you have to shoot the opponent through the cover. Unless, of course, they have more than 18 wounds or the flyer keyword. They are breachable, so infantry, beasts and swarms can pass through it as if the item wasn't there. Defensible, so hold steady or set to defend. Remember those key opportunities when you are charged by the enemy. They're also difficult ground, so you can use them to create obstacles between you and your opponent. If they're passing through these woods, they're going to be quite annoyed. They're going to be subtracting 2 from all their move opportunities. Woods come in many different shapes and forms.